Hi everyone, I'm Hsin-Yi Chang. Thank you so much for tuning in to this presentation. You are listening to Where the Wild Things Are, Return to the Wild. As I'm sharing with you through this video, it is a great example of how much we rely on remote communications now. My thesis, Bonding Across Distances, inspects what helps people connect emotionally with each other in remote settings. My studies led me to identify three key elements. The first one is synchronized multisensory experience. Seeing, hearing, touching the same things at the same time helps people connect. The second is interactivity, being able to interact with each other, and the quality and quantity of interaction is crucial to helping people connect. The third is emotionality. Experiencing emotional events or content together helps people connect. My project explores how this theory can be applied in exhibition realm to help us expand the reach and impact of our future projects. My selected subject is Where the Wild Things Are. I'm sure many of you might find this very familiar. This is a beloved children's classic book by Maurice Sendak. The story is about a young boy named Max who, after done a series of mischief, was being punished to his room. There, he suddenly found himself in a wild island where a lot of wild things lived. That's where he began these wild adventures with these wild things and had this great story. Though seemingly like a fantasy childlike story in the surface, but really it's a great metaphor of how a children or anyone could process various feelings and come to connect with the people and the world around them. In this project, I will be mostly referencing Sendak's original artwork as well as the 2009 feature film adaptation, as Sendak also took a great part in it. Here is a brief look at this project. Where the Wild Things Are, Return to the Wild is a hybrid experience with two parts, one online mobile game and a traveling exhibition. With technology, we will bring the two audiences together to embark on an emotional journey. And by bringing in the audience into the world of the wild things as first persons, this project aims to promote emotional awareness and social connectedness in the post-pandemic world. My clients are the three relevant IP holders of the story. The sponsor, Coalition to End Loneliness, is our advisor on the mental wellness and societal wellness front. Our primary audience is the families with children who are always looking for opportunities for growth and meaningful conversations. The secondary audience will be the hobbyists who grew up loving the story. The tertiary audience will be the experience seekers who love novel experiences. The format again is the mobile game with the traveling exhibition, and the exhibition's duration will be 6 months. Now, what does it really mean to have a two-part experience? It means that visitors or audience could come into the world of the wild things through one of the two ways. The first one is using the mobile game. The second one is by visiting our traveling exhibition. So what happens is that we build the wild island in full in the mobile game. And so our mobile players can come into this world as the wild things. There are different terrains with different things to do, different things to discover. And we take parts of this island and build it in the real world as interactive environments. And we add a few local experiences to it and make it into an exhibition. So now our audience can come visit in person and enter into the world of wild things as this human child. And through our interactive environments, the two audience will be able to meet and interact with each other. The mobile game is scheduled to launch 4 months prior to the exhibition's opening in New York. And here's a brief look of what that gaming experience looked like. the audience will control the wild thing avatars, and they will be able to explore the wild islands, its different terrains and different activities, different missions, and also uncover different stories in this wild island. And most importantly, they will be able to express a wide range of emotions and connect with other players and make other wild friends and even form wild communities. Now, 4 months into the game's launching, we've accumulated this great active player base on our mobile platform. And now comes time to open our interactive exhibition. Here's an overlook of our physical exhibition. The exhibition will open in Prospect Park in New York. This is an outdoor exhibition hosted mostly in geodesic domes. We have 5 of these domes, each of them connected to a different parts of the game. So the areas marked yellow here are the ones that are connected to the game with the remote interactives. The areas marked green are the local experiences. So as visitors arrive at the park, they will be led to the exhibition site through the story-incorporated wayfinding signage. And as they arrive on site, they will be greeted by these Wild Thing-inspired domes, welcoming them into the world of the wild things. And right in the center is the check-in point. Visitors will check in at this Max Room inspired check-in point, and they will receive their RFID scepter and input their personal information at a kiosk and ready to begin their wild journey. The first area they will come into is the beach. First, they will be greeted by this tutorial wall on the left where they will learn the basic gestures that they will be using in this environment. And then they will go on to explore the rest of the beach. How this environment is set up is that in the overhead there is motion sensor camera as well as microphones to pick up visitors' presence, movement, and sound so that the system could create the in-game presence, which is the human child for them. Their avatars will be displayed on this LED screens on the floor. These LED screens are connected to the game, so they will not only see themselves, they will also see other players that are in the area. So this little wild thing starts interacting with the boy is actually an avatar controlled by a mobile player. And then on the physical side, there are scenic elements that mirrors the environment that are in the game to merge the two worlds together. The dimensional wild thing sculpture here is a story element that exists both in the physical and in the virtual. And when it's activated, it will present a story on the screen so that it can be enjoyed by the in-person and remote audience both at the same time. On the floor is treated with vinyl graphics to also mirror the in-game environment, but in a way that it's accessible to all physical visitors. So this is what it looks like on both ends of the remote interaction. On the in-person side, the visitors will control their avatars through gestures. So they will put both of their hands up to make their avatars roar. They will put both their hands on their face to make their avatars to appear scared. And on the mobile side, the audience will be able to control their avatar through the gaming interface. And as they interact with each other, they will be able to further deepen their relationship. If they want to become friends with each other, if the in-person visitor wants to initiate, they will simply reach out, extend their scepter forward, which contains a passive RFID tag inside. And in the back of these LED interactive walls, there are a series of RFID readers that will pick up on that signal and send over a message asking their wild counterparts, hey, would you like to be friends with this little person? And if the mobile player says yes, their avatar will bow like in the story, and then the system will register, knowing that this individual and this individual are now friends. And this relationship can be carried through to the later areas in the experience. And this RFID scepter could also be used to activate stories like the story element or other effects simply by having RFID readers embedded in these elements. And now the visitors finish exploring the first area and move into the second. They will move through the connected tunnels, and in the beginning of each area from here on has a place that they could scan their scepter to invite their already made friends to join them in the new location. Here in this area, the story element is this dancing wild thing who recalls on the day that they all rumpus together with Max. The wild thing will go on to encourage the visitors and the mobile players alike to start a wild rumpus of their own. And how will they do that? Let's take a look at the structure of this dome. So similar to the first dome, they will have mic and cameras on the overhead, but this dome, the LED wall is constructed to be a dome to present a more immersive experience. And behind it, there's also the RFID readers. And what's interesting is the center of the floor actually has vibration sensors embedded in them. So visitors can activate a rumpus in one of the three ways. The first way is to do a dance exchange with their wild friends, which is you do a little dance and your wild friend do a little dance, and back and forth for 3 rounds, and you will activate the rumpus. The second way is through rocking the treetop, which is that you jump up trying to reach up for the treetop. Although the treetops are designed to be out of reach, the system will pick up on the jumping motions and then scatter out the wildlife that are in the treetop. And as you collaboratively scare away enough wildlife, you started a rumpus. The third way is by stomping on the ground. So if you go to the center of this forest and then you stomp real hard with your friends, if you stomp hard enough, and then the wild rumpus is triggered. And this is what a rumpus would look like. The program would take everybody's avatar in the room on a wild rumpus march, and this animation will be displayed on the 360-degree LED dome as well as the mobile player's phone, creating a memorable moment for both participants to enjoy. This area also contains this side story element for any participants that are less social or less active. There in the virtual bush hides a little goat. When you activate it, he tells the story of how he got hurt during the rumpus, and he would ask participants to offer a hug. And through this story, participants will learn how to offer or receive a hug in this environment. Now moving on to the third dome, the fort. Here in the center of the spotlight, the story element, the wild thing tells the story of the unfinished fort. This is where they once conceived this idea of having a place where only things you want to happen would happen. But of course, such thing never happened in the story. And so the wild thing asked the participants to collaborate and finish building the fort for the wild things. And how they will do that is that the in-person visitors, and in-person only, they could come to these chopping sites and they could swing their scepters. And the chopped wood pieces will fall into the virtual world, and then their wild friends pick them up and then use them to build the fort. And this will go on for a while, and for kids or participants that are less patient or they don't want to collaborate as much, on the side there's a series of smaller nests that are available for single person build. And when it's built, these nests will start blooming and reveal this bull inside telling a story how he felt left out and unheard during the process of building the fort. The bull will then go on to ask participants to plant seeds around the fort for his behalf. And as participants do that, and as the fort gets finished, there comes this big celebration moment where these big nest will surround the entire dome, and then the entire nest will bloom, and the day will turn into dusk, into night, and they will be able to enjoy this breathtaking meteor shower together. Another great moments for the audiences to share. And now coming into the last interactive dome in the Wild Island, the cave. This is a smaller dome meant for a more intimate and quiet experience. With the story element, the Wild Thing tells the story why he secretly built this mountain city where he dreamed of this ideal life he and his friend could have together. The Wild Thing then go on to invite the participants to play with the model themselves to convey what kind of life that they would like to have with their friends in this dream city. This model is separated by this flat LED wall in the middle, so half of it is in the physical and half of it in the virtual. On the physical side, there are playing figurines that are active RFID tagged. So when players move these figurines around, these locations will be tracked and reflected in the game, so the remote audience could also see what's going on. There are also effects that players could trigger over this model. So in the physical, you could use scepters to trigger different effects to be projection mapped onto the model. They could activate things like water, like river, like rain, like snow or sun. And as they collaborate, they play, if some effects are triggered simultaneously, say like one player's triggered sunlight and the other player triggered rain, and there comes the rainbow crossing above the model. So create that kind of collaborative but free-formed play. Now, coming out from the world of the Wild Things, visitors transition back to their real world. Here they encounter the last story element, "Please don't go, we love you so." And this Wild Thing tells the story of how hard it was to say goodbye to Max. And the program at the end have the avatars from the remote audience and the in-person audience hug goodbye and send them both away, and they will not be able to return. From here on out, the in-person visitors will go on to explore the local experiences. So in the back, there is this art section about the art behind the Wild Things. So visitors will learn about Maurice Sendak, his intention as an artist, the controversy around the story, as well as the different elements from a different adaptation of this incredible story. On the front left corner is the gift shop, where we not only sell the traditional gifts like the book or t-shirts, but we also sell merchandise that come with in-game features, like this pin over here with a NFC function that after purchase, visitors can scan the pin and then get a particular skin inside the game. So for this way, we redirect our in-person visitors back into the game, because we know it's unrealistic to say that we could establish a solid friendship over just 1 hour of play, and especially emotional journey takes time and takes practice. So it's important to redirect visitors back to the game to continue their journey, to get in touch with the community there, to continue their friendship there, and to make the emotional journey their daily practice. And also when visitors download the mobile game here, their avatar would get this little crown on their head to just make their avatar a little bit special. So when other players encounter them, then they will be all curious about, hey, where'd you get that crown? Oh, I was a part of the physical experience. And that becomes an incentive for the mobile players to participate in the physical realm. Now, coming out of the exhibition, Around the domes, there are 3 round platforms presenting 3 real-world scenes, hoping to inspire our visitors to extend their emotional sensitivity into their daily lives. In the center is the last interactive area where, in the real-world scenes, the visitors can scan their scepters one last time and invite their wild friends to join them in these real-world scenes and enjoy the last 30 seconds of rumpus and photo taking. And in the back is the reflection wall where we use graphic to invite our visitors to reflect on what kind of things might set them wild and what might that wild thing look like in them or in others, and what we could do to extend a friendly hand to these wild things. Visitors will be able to use chalk to draw on their own version of wild things and be able to see how they could better lend a friendly hand to each other's wildness. So in conclusion, this project is really about creating a shared emotional experience for remote audiences in an era that only anticipates more and more remote interactions. This project set out to find a new and engaging way for people to continue to share experience together, because it is through these shared moments that connections grow and in turn foster and nurtures our personal and societal well-being. So I hope by having people roar together, laugh together, and grow together, this project shows that we can continue to enjoy shared experiences and thrive together, no matter how far. Thank you so much for listening in. I am Hsin-Yi Chang. I hope you enjoy this project. I'm a serious daydreamer, exhibition and experience designer. If you have any thoughts, comments, or great ideas about this project that you would like to share, please do reach out to me through the email. I would love to hear all of those thoughts. And if you wish to find more of my work, you can find it through the QR code here. Thank you again, and I hope you all have a great journey of your own. Thank you. Bye.